Racism is bad. Any reasonable person would agree with that statement. However, if you don't believe so, then try time traveling to 2020, where progress is being made in an attempt to repair years of racism. If these comments of progressivism still don't suit you, then go back to before the Civil War, where racism could run rapid. In the Western world, the standard of beauty is pale, blue eyes, and blonde. Countries such as the United States, though, suffer from a condition called diversity, which threatens this standard. Don't worry, though. Walk into any beauty aisle of a store and you find 50 shades of white and maybe 3 options for those with a darker complexion. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, colorism can be defined as prejudice or discrimination, especially within a racial or ethnic group, favoring people with lighter skin over those with darker skin. This form of racism penetrates deeply into individual races and cultures, making it a norm in the United States and Western world in general. Any 90s or early 2000s kid remembers the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. An event that went under the radar, though, during the show's run was when the actress for Aunt Viv, Janet Huber, got replaced by a lighter-skinned actress, Daphne Maxwell Reid. As Variety magazine explains, the actress got fired due to contractual disagreements. The decision to find a lighter-skinned actress proves an ongoing prejudice against people with a darker complexion. In the African American community, terms such as light-skinned and dark-skinned get thrown around to describe the complexion of one another. To be dark-skinned often comes with a perception of being dirty, ghetto, and ugly, while being light-skinned comes with the opposite connotation. While a race cannot be racist against themselves, they can perpetuate a mindset that praises lighter complexions. For example, during the casting call for the movie Straight Outta Compton, A girls were described as, quote, the hottest of the hottest, must have real hair, end quote. Meanwhile, their description of D girls were, quote, African American girls, out of shape, end quote. What this casting list did was enforce negative stereotypes about darker people. This type of hatred within one's race can trickle into society as a whole, making colorism acceptable and part of the status quo. Hispanic and Latino are not considered races. Centuries of colonialization and slavery has made the Latinx community a melting pot of races. The Latinx community includes people that are a mix of indigenous, African, and European roots. During the age of colonialization, this led to a hierarchy based on someone's racial makeup. Those who were Spanish reigned on top, while those of African and indigenous backgrounds got forced to the bottom. In terms of how this impacted modern-day Latin communities, the best example are telenovelas. A video by We Are Me Too describes the inequality seen in telenovelas, especially in regards to female actors. To be considered worthy of a lead role, you need to have Eurocentric features. In a 2019 article by RTF Gender and Media Culture reveals the top paid actors in the industry for both male and females tend to be white passing. When darker-skinned Latinos do appear in telenovelas, though, they often get pushed to the side or get stereotypical the help roles. When these depictions are shown, young Hispanic minds learn that if they are not fair-skinned, they won't be able to succeed in media, and possibly life in general. Due to historical implications, the Latino community became a breeding ground for colorism. Because of the diversity in Western countries, ideas of colorism spread quickly. However, travel east where a more homogeneous group of people live, and these ideas still exist. In many Asian countries, the concept of discrimination based off skin tone spread because of the elite. Ancient Asian literature, according to The Diplomat, depicted heroines and royals as, quote, having a fair complexion. Asian culture says that the elite have lighter skin because they don't need to work outdoors. Asian men and women, from the beginning of these tales to the present day, are being pressured to achieve lighter skin in order to have a better life. The Philippines, for example, holds a lead for most people having tried light skin treatments. Vogue magazine explains that in the Philippines, 1 in every 2 citizens has used one form or another of skin lightening products. The article also references the author's experience with this type of product. When writer Audrey Noble first encountered skin bleaching products, she was only 9 years old. The family member who gifted her the whitening soap did so in hopes that with lighter skin, Noble would have success in life. Many people in Asia naturally have pale skin, but this trait is often seen as a golden ticket straight to success. From lead makeup to skin lightening creams, these historical standards impacted a whole continent for centuries. Even with the evidence presented, of course, Many may disagree on the grounds that racism, and in turn colorism, are no longer issues today. One can argue that actors like Lupita Nyong'o and Zendaya can coexist and land leading roles. Both of these actresses have suffered from racial hatred, but persevered and found success. On the one hand, I agree with the fact that progress is being made in regards to racism. But on the other hand, these ideas ignore the fact that while discrimination based off skin color is illegal, there are still social stigmas against those with deeper complexions. Ultimately, if these types of stigmas are to be eliminated, much of society needs to change by removing phrases such as pretty for a dark-skinned girl/guy and you would be more attractive if you were lighter. Those of darker shades won't feel the pressure to lighten themselves. Integrating more skin tones into media, especially leading roles, allows for the status quo to shift in favor of all shades of people. Starting the conversation of how lighter skin tone comes with certain privileges allows the issue to be destigmatized. The war of light skin versus dark skin must turn into the unity between melanated kings and queens. As amazing as she is, Scarlett Johansson cannot represent every person of color.
Colorism is bad. If you still don't believe so, remember the endless amounts of privilege people of lighter skin tones receive. From ancient Asia, the era of colonialization, and present day, there has always been a hierarchy that discriminates against deeper complexions. The African American community has stereotypes associating deeper tones with poverty. Latin media holds white skin on a pedestal, and Asian culture created a whole beauty industry built on bleaching the skin of individuals. Colorism throughout history penetrated itself into every part of our modern-day society. This, however, does not mean that it has to continue this way forever.